I think this is going to be the frame. There's the cage, top and bottom. Packs down that small. That's the off-grid aviation throttle. And there's the Dudek comfort seat, OpenPPG label, and the QR code, and go to the assembly instructions. The QR code about how to break in the motor. Doing those connections right now just to get the frames separated. I'm going to save these in case I ever want to use them to travel with. Brand new Atom 80. Thing to protect the cordage, but I think this may be for the master. So I thought, well, maybe it could be down here near the primer bulb, but I looked at their video and I didn't see it on their Atom 80 video. I did see it in the one where they're installing the master. So these are the longer M8 bolts. These need to be a mirror image of each other. So we're going to run these down, just hand tighten them for now. And then I'll get my torque wrench out and torque them down here in just a sec. I'll try not to do too much. You don't want to bust this vibration resistant nut on the back side that they thread into. Now that we've got those mirror imaged, we're going to line this up. So it should be these top two on either side. We're going to match those up, make sure they match. Yes, they do. And we're going to take our shorter M8 bolt that comes with this, and we'll thread that down. Keep them kind of loose for right now until I get everything threaded. I'm actually really liking this frame on how far or how small it packs down. This is actually what I was looking for. And I think even with the master on here, it would be perfect for what I do with the pack raft. All right, so we got those on there. I'm going to go ahead and tighten these down, and then we'll move to the next step. Let's go ahead and place it here. Kind of had to prop it forward because it wanted to roll back with the engine on. It felt like it was just on the verge of being balanced. And I think once we put the harness on it, it'll be good. So I'm gonna add my fuel line. I think this is from my last Vitarazi motor, what was left over from it. A automotive fuel line going down to the bottom. I just want to be able to see the fuel going in. So I'm going to measure this out, see how much I want so there's no kinks in it. That should do right there. So we'll go ahead and cut that. Put some tie downs there or some clips. I've got some clips that I can screw on super tight. But that should give us a good arc. So now we can see the fuel going. Now we'll do the bottom part of the fuel line in here. I got our fuel line in there. And that's going to allow us to use this. We'll be able to see if we have any bubbles, whatever. And then this one will be more durable for the lifetime of the motor. You can use these, but they're not very good. And then you can also use small tie downs. Those work pretty good. I found just as good as these here. And now the other one that I have, I can't find it right now, you can actually screw those on. It's got a slip knot on it. Untie the pull start. We're going to run that through. Now you'll notice from the factory, it comes with a tie down to keep it from dropping down in there. Take that off last. That way if you accidentally let go, it won't go down in there. And plus, then you know you're right where you need to be to give it the adequate pull start. I'm going to run through there. I'm going to bring that out. I'm going to pull that all the way up to where I want it to start. A figure 8 on a bite. Over. It's going to go under. I'm using those two strands as if they were one. And I'm going to run this back through. I'm not going to tie this part right now. I'm going to wrap this around a couple of times. I want some sort of loop to tie into. Just going to tie this off so it doesn't come undone while I'm flying and get into something I don't want it to get into. And now that I've got that little loop, I can run it up in here and I can tie it off with an overhand knot if I wanted to. And I don't have to worry about that getting too tight or coming undone, because it's still not going to pull through because we have that figure 8 follow through. And if you want to, you can take this other part and just tuck it up under these other strands. And I'm going to cut high on this. There we go. Now we should be good. The Grid Aviation throttle. So it gives you all the little tools within it. Gets in the way, nothing contacts this thing. I don't want to be leaning back on it with the harness. All right, there. This nut down there, and attach it if we can. All right, there we go. All right, that's going to work. Slide the spring on. It's actually going to go on the other side from all of that. We're going to put it there for now. So there, we got the spring on the other side. We've got our brass piece kind of holding everything in. That's not going anywhere. Now, let's test it out with the throttle. So I'm going to trim that up a little bit better. There we go. And then I'm going to take a little super glue, and that keeps it from fraying. So over here where the ignition is, measure out, and this off the grid aviation, they give you plenty to decide. I'm going to kind of measure out how much I need based on where I'm going to mount it at. I'm going to give a little bit extra. And I'm going to cut that there to remove. There we go. So now we have a little piece. Take our shrink wrap, run it down on there first. I have to twist it up a little bit more, get it pretty tight. I'm going to run that up in there. Good. There we go. And then I'm going to crank these down around that. There we go. Good. So we got the shrink wrap. We slide that over. Let's go get our heat gun. Let that cool down, and then we're going to put it right here on the ignition. Tie this throttle down. So we put a tie down in there. We can tie that excess off. Prevent it from getting into anything. There we go. And they will remind you with this Atom 80, it's the same thing with Top 80, gear oil. Do not forget to put the gear oil in this. The same top. Place this on. These are 8s, 8mm. These down by hand first. Just make sure you don't cross thread them. Let's go get my torque wrench. All right, there we go. All right, let's go ahead and tighten that down. Don't over tighten it because that's just aluminum. You can strip those threads. Cap, dust cover, place that on. We're going to come through the top. Bring that all the way up. Lift it up slightly so we can bring this down. and then run it back up through the top. And then you'll be good. If you want to, this could be difficult to do, lift that up, force that through, at least an edge of that through. This is not required, but I've always done it just to take up some of that extra slack and to be guaranteed that it doesn't come apart from the frame, and pull that through. This is not required, and just bring that back. It will not come undone. Here, thread that through. Come to this side. Then back up through the top side, and then I'll do the same thing on the other side. All the hardware on the swing arms to kind of speed things up. Now, this is going to be for the Atom 80, so we had to do the offset different than what you would see for the electric paramotor. So the electric paramotor, if you had that engine, these offsets would be over here. And I placed it here in the center, 190 pounds. I may have to move that forward a little bit after I do a hang test, but somewhere right around there. Let's look at this. We have our M10 bolt with a threaded nylon locking nut. Then you have this washer. This portion is going to go up against the frame. This portion is going to go away from the frame. I took the M8 bolts. You have this threaded piece here, and you can see it there. I don't want to have to take those out. That was placed inside as you bent it, and then these were threaded down with this washer on the outside. So I'm going to tighten it down. I think it's 10 Newton meters that these have to be torqued to. I'm just going to do this. When you thread, there's a washer that goes on the inside so that these won't rub on both of these. This threads in, threaded portion to the inside, and this is going to, once you thread it down, to lock it in, this is where your harness is going to hook onto. This piece is going to thread in there so that this won't shake loose. I'm going to loosen that just a little bit. There we go. Should be able to drop down under its own weight. So I was using a 17 on that nut and an 8 for the Allen hex head metric. Now you should be able to see several threads. I can see about 3 or 4 there. And there we go. Take this and pull that apart and run that through. All right, now here we need this safety strap. I'm going to take that, I'm going to run that on. I want this out in the front, so that's why I'm putting it on this way. I'm sure there's a million different ways to put this on. Then we run that down, and that fits on just like that. I'm going to do the same thing. There we go. Now we are hooked up. We've got the harness, got the swing arms. We'll put the prop and the hoop and do the break-in the next video.